Hello, everyone. Welcome to PACE Education Abroad's PACE Travel Course Info Session. My name is Joey Colantuno, and I am a PAL here for the PACE Education Abroad office. Today, I'm pretty much just going to go over the PACE travel courses, kind of how they run, give you some basic background information on them, such as eligibility requirements, and also just going to go over some financial concerns you might have with the programs as well. So you might be wondering what some of the benefits to studying abroad are. So in addition to earning just academic credits, studying abroad is a great way to learn outside of the classroom and to gain real world experience in an educational setting. So especially if you want to work outside of the country, this is a great opportunity for you to network and experience for yourself with an employer overseas. Short-term programs allow you to study abroad without missing out on your time at PACE. Speaking from experience as an education major, my classes were very specific to New York State education. So I could not study abroad during the semester. I had to go during one of the breaks. So these programs were a really great option because without them, I wouldn't have had an opportunity to even study abroad. So they're really great for students that need to be on campus during the semester. They are also good if you maybe have on-campus obligations such as a job, or maybe you have family that you need to stay on campus for, or maybe you just don't want to commit to the lengthy finances or the duration of the program that a semester-long program would entail. Many students are also use this as an opportunity to meet other students from the other campus. So if you're a Pleasantville student, you can maybe use this as an opportunity to meet New York City students, vice versa, New York City students for Pleasantville students. I made a lot of friends from the Pleasantville campus, and I wouldn't have made through unless I went on the study abroad trip. So it's a really great opportunity to meet other PACE students. Down here, we have a quote from Mackenzie. Mackenzie said, "When I started at PACE, I didn't think studying abroad was in the cards for me, and now I can't imagine my PACE experience without it." So Mackenzie is a student who has participated in multiple short-term programs because you can do more than one while you're at PACE. Many students do take advantage of this. And other students use these programs as kind of a trial run to test out studying abroad before committing to a longer program, just to see if they're going to like it and if this is something that they want to continue to do at PACE. So in regards to studying abroad and your career, there are a bunch of connections that go into play. Studying abroad is a great way to boost your career outside of college. So you can use study abroad as a way to develop skills. Such skills would include, critical thinking, confidence, communication. All of these skills are really good skills that employers would want to see on a resume. And they're all just really great experiences that you can talk about in a job interview. Having these skills will definitely indicate to employers that you were able to take information that you learned in the classroom, and that you were able to apply it to actual real world experience outside of the classroom. So just seeing studying abroad on a resume is just automatically a boost in your interview or just to get you ahead in your career. So what makes a PACE travel course different from the other programs? Whoop. So pretty much a PACE travel course is where you take a 4 credit course during the semester as part of your course load, and then you travel with your professor and other classmates abroad for around 1 to 3 weeks during a university break. If you are taking a class in the fall, then you would travel during the winter break. If you are taking a class in the spring, that would only be a week of travel because you would travel during the spring break, or you could travel during the summer break, which would range from 1 to 3 weeks. Courses do range from around 3 to 6 credits, and many of the programs do fulfill PACE degree or core requirements, such as AOKs or learning communities. Usually, you will have a handful of class meetings during the semester for your PACE travel course, including a pre-departure orientation, but not every week because you will complete a portion of the academic process while you are away, while you're actually abroad. There are usually around 10 to 20 students per program, and there's usually 2 PACE faculty leaders per program. So it's pretty good. There's not too many students, but also just enough where you feel like, you have a good enough group that you could go with. And these programs, like I said, they do fulfill a lot of academic requirements, and they're good if you just need to get those extra requirements out of the way. They can help check those off as well. So as mentioned on the last slide, if you are participating in a PACE travel course in the fall, you will have class meetings during the fall semester and then travel during the January break. So if you are enrolled in a spring travel course, then you will have meetings throughout the semester, either during spring break or over the summer break, is when you will travel. So you're usually having classes the semester before. And then you travel during the break that is after following the semester. The faculty leader usually determines the schedule of class meetings during the semester, which can be found on Schedule Explorer. It'll have all the information regarding the class. Okay, so let's just go over some basic eligibility requirements. So pretty much everyone who is studying abroad at PACE must have at least a 2.5 GPA or higher. If you are a grad student, you do have to have a 3.0 GPA or higher. So 2.5 for undergrad, 3.0 for grad. First year students are eligible for some PACE travel courses. It just depends on the requirements. And then you will have to check for your specific program. Everyone does have to be at least 18 years or older before traveling. You must have a clear disciplinary record here at PACE as well, and just make sure you are registered in the appropriate course section. So if you are an undergrad student, you will have a specific code you need to enter for. And then if you are a graduate student, you will have your specific code. So just make sure that you are registered in the appropriate one and you're checking that. Okay, so here is just a quick hypothetical, a day in the life of what it would look like to study abroad on a PACE travel course. So pretty much every program is different, and it does vary based on the destination. So they are subject to change, but this is just an example. So pretty much you wake up, you have breakfast either at the place that you are staying at, or maybe you grab something quick if there's like a cafe nearby that you've been going to. And then once you get your breakfast, you will meet up with your class and your professors for just a general meeting on what the day is going to look like, kind of what's on the itinerary. And then you'll either participate in either a tour or an activity. So for example, this could be a business visit for a Lubin program, or maybe a school visit for the Italy education program. It really just depends on what your program is. My program was an ancient Rome and kind of like religious program. So we were looking at a lot of Italian churches and just a lot of architecture from Rome. So that was super cool. We would usually see like a museum every day. And then we'd usually get 4 days off total throughout the whole 3-week program. So that was super nice. We always had something to do. Usually then you will have lunch with your group. And then after you have lunch, you will probably do another activity. So perhaps you'll do a tour of the Acropolis if you're going to Greece. Maybe you'll do National Wildlife Refuge in Costa Rica, whatever it may be. And then once you finish with your group for the day, you will have the rest of the time to explore. You can sightsee, you can really do pretty much anything that interests you, that you wanted to do, maybe on your own, maybe go with other friends. We definitely recommend sticking with a buddy during free time, just in case. There may be a group activity that you have to do after dinner on some nights, in which case your professor will give you a time and a place to meet back up, and they'll give you plenty of notice beforehand. Remember, this is an example though, so like not everything that I said is going to be what you do. The number of included group meals and the amount of free time varies by program and the itinerary, but you can expect busy days filled with a lot of interesting and academic activities, and especially cultural activities as well. So you can see we have like a little cooking class over here. You can meet with a bunch of students in a school if you're doing one of the education programs. So really just a lot of wonderful things to do on the programs. So what does it cost to do a PACE travel course? So since you are paying tuition to PACE for the semester as usual, your financial aid applies to your PACE travel course in the credit tuition. So it just applies directly to your semester bill. There is a program fee that you will have to pay for the overseas portion of the program. This covers, some group activities. So like if you're going on a tour of a museum, this could cover your ticket to the museum before you even get there, which is super helpful and super convenient because when you get there, it just makes everything easier, especially so you don't have to worry with the currency conversion. It just makes everything super easy once you get overseas. It also covers your accommodations. It will cover your international travel insurance. And then it'll also cover some of your group meals as well. So for my program, our first and last night, we had our meals paid for from PACE. So this is what that program fee went towards. And then we also did have to travel to Florence for a day. So kind of having to pay the in-country travel. Our train ticket to go to Florence from Rome was already covered. So again, it just makes everything super easy and convenient once you get over there. It is an admission fee as well for this $100 study abroad fee. So that is what that's going towards. And then you will also get a graduation stole with the country of the flag where you studied abroad. And however many programs you do here at PACE, that is how many flags you get on your stole. So I just graduated recently and I got my Italian flag stole and it was super nice. So that's what that's going towards as well. Okay, so on every program page on Teradata, which is our study abroad portal down here, this is how you spell it. If you just type that into a search engine, it'll come up. On every program page, we do have something called a budget sheet or kind of just like a cost sheet. This is just to give everyone a visual estimate of what each program is going to look like regarding the costs for that specific program. So if you look here, the billable items are what is paid to PACE. And then while the non-billable items down here, these are items that are really more so an estimate, either out of pocket costs that might be associated with the program, in which case the student will be responsible for paying this. Do keep in mind that these budget sheets are estimates just to help you kind of keep your financial planning organized, just so you have everything up to date with your specific study abroad program. So for instance, you could be using miles or points for your flight down here, or maybe you live closer to the country that you're traveling to. Therefore, flights could just be naturally cheaper than the estimated flight we listed here. If there are any questions about what your financial aid will cover, feel free to send us an email. And you can also include financial aid in that email, and we can help you answer your question. But pretty much billable subtotal and up is set in stone, while non-billable is pretty much an estimate. Just keep that in mind. Okay, so we have a bunch of scholarships listed on our website. There are no limits on how many scholarships a student can apply for a specific program. We do have over 50 different scholarships currently listed on our website. You can totally find those scholarships based on a bunch of different factors. So if you want to look on them based on your school, maybe you're in Dyson, Leuven, College of Health Professions, Seidenberg, whatever that may be. Maybe you want to find a country based on the or a scholarship based on the country you're going towards. So there's a lot of country specific scholarships as well. Or maybe there's a major specific scholarship. So a lot of business majors will have scholarships. There are a bunch of art scholarships. There's finance scholarships, whatever it may be. You probably qualify for more than you think. So definitely just do your research. And do your research early with the scholarships because a lot of them do have a bunch of different deadlines. So you just want to make sure you don't miss anything before it's past the due date. So PACE travel courses vary by semester. So here we have some examples of previous travel courses that have run in the past. Some travel courses are recurring while some change each semester. It really just depends on what the professors are thinking of doing for that semester. The best way to know if a travel course is being offered is to check the PACE travel course website. But on the side here, you can kind of see just the breakdown of some majors and where those areas of studies kind of can take you. So if you're interested in literature, we have a Greek Odyssey class that goes to Greece. If you're interested in Rome, going to Rome, we have a lot of historical classes that go there. Even like for documentary filmmaking, if you want to make a documentary, we have that in Puerto Rico. So it really just depends on what your interests are and where that can take you. So if you are interested in doing a fall course with travel during the January break, Those programs are going to have an early action deadline, and that is going to be on April 15th. For the spring courses with spring break travel or summer travel, those are going to have an early action deadline of November 15th. And then after these dates, applications will be accepted as long as there is room in the course. And so long as you meet all of the eligibility requirements for that program. We definitely encourage students to apply sooner rather than later before your preferred travel course fills up. Because if it does fill up and the spots are full, it's very unlikely that the professor will open a spot up for extra students. So just keep that in mind as well. Okay, so PACE's study abroad portal is called Teradata. I mentioned this earlier. Again, if you just type this PACE University Teradata into any search engine, it will take you to our study abroad portal. This is going to be where you can research programs. You can filter programs out to show you only PACE travel courses if you specifically want to do a travel course. Definitely do your research on Teradata. We just updated our website, so it's all new. And it should be much easier to navigate for the students. And yeah, just type it in, and definitely, once you find a program that you like, you can apply for it on Teradata. And once you are accepted into your program, this is going to be the platform that you submit all of your documents, such as your passport, your transcript, all of that is going to be submitted through Teradata. Your Teradata application is also going to be where you sign waivers. And it's going to be where you can find a checklist kind of giving you a bunch of things for you to complete before you depart for your program. Okay, so this is kind of just an outline for how to apply for a PACE travel course. So the first thing that you definitely want to make sure you have is a passport. Definitely get that checked off first, and just make sure that your passport is valid at least 6 months beyond the program's last day. This can take time to obtain, so we do encourage students to prioritize their passport or at least submit confirmation of renewal if it is close to being expired. So if it is close to being expired, and it is in the process of getting renewed, showing us that renewal confirmation is will satisfy that passport requirement. As mentioned in the previous slide, research programs on Teradata, speak to your advisor, talk to your families and your friends, maybe just see which programs are going to be the best option for you financially, interest-wise. Definitely take the time. The Education Abroad office, once you apply for your program, is then going to review your application just to make sure that you do meet all of the eligibility requirements before sending out your acceptance email for your program. Once you do get accepted into your program, you will have 2 weeks to submit a non-refundable $500 deposit. That can be found into your Teradata account on the study abroad application. And this will be to secure your spot in the program. So once you have submitted that $500 deposit, you should be good. And once you register for your program, the Education Abroad office will register you in the appropriate CRN for the course. So you will submit your deposit, and then the Education Abroad office will register you for your course. Students do not register themselves for a PACE travel course. Our office at Education Abroad will do it for you. You will have until the tuition deadline to pay any of your remaining balances in your student account, including the PACE travel course program fee. Once the semester starts, that is when you will begin classes and start class meetings set by the professor. So your professor will be in touch with you to give you all that important information. And then you will attend those class meetings. You'll complete any assignments you need to do before you go on the trip, and just do the mandatory pre-departure orientation as well. The PACE travel courses run as long as the minimum number of students enrolled is met, and no other risk factors allow for the travel to the study abroad destination. So long as there are enough students for the program to run, the program will run as planned. For these reasons, though, it is highly encouraged to have a backup course selected at PACE if one of the PACE travel courses does not run. So only in the event that a course is canceled by PACE specifically, that is when you would be refunded your $500 deposit, your $100 study abroad fee, and any other program fees. That will all be returned to you by PACE if PACE cancels the program. Any out-of-pocket costs such as airfare, any visa fees that you might have to purchase, PACE is not financially responsible for those. So just keep in mind, we recommend obtaining cancel for any reason insurance to definitely protect yourself from any unforeseen circumstances that might affect your study abroad PACE travel course, just to make sure that you don't get blindsided with a cost. So what should I be doing after this info session? You might be wondering, maybe, it's definitely good to familiarize yourself with Teradata. That is again, our study abroad portal. Definitely explore all of the PACE travel courses that are being offered on the program. Definitely take your time to talk to your advisor and understand which PACE requirements your PACE travel course can count towards. Maybe you need an AOK or a writing enhanced or a learning community fulfilled. Definitely just check your degree works and just see what requirements you still have left to complete as well. On Teradata and Schedule Explorer, you can see the instructor leading the course. So, feel free, if you are interested in a particular course, feel free to reach out to them with any academic questions you might have regarding the content of the course. Discuss your plans with your family as you consider study abroad programs. That might be the best fit for you. Consider the financial needs, your academic needs, all of that. And then definitely get a passport and just make sure it does not expire until 6 months beyond your program's last day. So for example, if your course ends on June 1st, your passport does need to be valid at least till December 1st. So once you feel that you have found a program that is right for you, definitely apply to the program as soon as possible because spots can fill up fast for the travel courses. And we just want to make sure everyone gets their first pick if we can help it. So when studying abroad, it is important to consider, how your personal identity can shape your experience. So just to prepare yourself, think about all of these aspects for yourself as far as your identity. Research your country and the city ahead of time to get a sense of how each might be perceived in the context of, social, cultural norms. You want to make sure that if you're being a tourist, you're being respectful and we're not doing anything that could disrespect the locals there. Definitely scan the QR code to find resources. If there's PACE websites, if there's any of these resources that you would identify with, it can help you navigate challenges and definitely feel supported while abroad. Culture shock is definitely a real thing. And these resources are a good jumping off point, to help just get a network of support. Maybe there's country specific advice you might need. So definitely just explore these tools in advance. It can empower students to definitely make sure that they are informed on their choices while they're overseas and just to make them feel more confident and safe during their international experience. And definitely just to make sure that they feel supported as well. Remember, PACE travel courses are a great short-term opportunity. For just every student at PACE. We believe every student should have the opportunity to study abroad, regardless of your financial situation or your major. These are programs that do meet the needs of students, both academically and financially. Feel free to scan the QR code if you'd like. You can explore all of our programs that are currently being offered, and it can show you if they're open for applications as well, and when they will be open for applications. Okay, yeah, so this concludes the PACE travel course info session. I definitely appreciate everyone's time for listening to all this important information. This QR code on the side here can take you to an FAQ page if you have any other questions about studying abroad. And then we also have all of our socials listed here as well. So we have our email, we have our website, and then this is our Instagram if you want to give us a follow, just to keep up to date with all of the important information we have going on. We look forward to working with all of the students that are interested in studying abroad, and thank you so much for listening.